Now that we understand why project management is a critical skill for healthcare professionals, we are going to talk about the different stages and life cycle of a project. As we learned earlier, not all projects begin at the same point. However, ideally, all of these stages should be completed to ensure a successful project. The 6 stages are as follows: the needs assessment, planning, selection, implementation, evaluation, and continuous improvement. Continuous improvement often leads to a needs assessment, so it is a continuous process. The needs assessment is the gap between the current state and the desired state, as you can see in the graph to the right, the current performance and the desired performance. There are different ways to collect this information to identify how you can get to that desired state. Data collection methods such as interviews, chart audits, which is typically used for quality indicator research, workflow analysis. There are also analysis outputs, such as a project charter. A project charter is often used in the launching of a project to understand the project scope, the stakeholders, the culture, the sponsor, and the team. The stakeholder registry helps you list who those stakeholders are, who are often folks that touch the patient along the continuum of care. And then there's value stream mapping. Next is planning, an important phase in project management. You identify the work that needs to be done to complete the objective. Often during the planning stage, it is a high-level conversation. You obtain the details usually in the next couple of phases, but you need to understand at a high level what the deliverables should be within a certain timeline so you could make sure that you receive the result on time. So in order to do that, you would use a timeline that outlines key milestones and deliverables. You would develop a communication plan, and this could be staff meetings, newsletters, announcements at meetings with other stakeholders. Materials should be directed to a specific audience, and there should be frequent updates, especially to your executive sponsor. Understand the budget and costs. Risk management, threats, and solutions are an important conversation to have as well. This is a snapshot of a timeline, very important in making sure that you have on your timeline the tasks on the left, as you can see on the screen here, general project management. So you can list the deliverables over on the left column, and it doesn't matter how this is represented on a grid. It just needs to include this level of detail. The responsible parties are next, and the timeline, week by week, as well as the status of the deliverable. Has it been completed or is it in process? Selection is the next phase in project management. When investing in new technology or making a large capital purchase, you line up the vendor selection for key stakeholders to review, examine budgetary constraints, and communicate current gaps in the system or product. Selection process only takes place when there is capital investment or new technology. If there is not, this is not a necessary process. Implementation, the act of doing. Put the project plan into motion. Communication plan for progress. Record variations to the plan and communicate modifications. Ensure that your stakeholders are aware of those modifications and ensure that they are participating in that conversation and coming up with solutions. And create an action plan. This is a snapshot of an action plan. And as you can see here, again, it doesn't matter what the grid looks like. It just matters that you're including specific information. The name of the committee, the meeting date, the attendees, any documentation that will be discussed and approved during the committee meeting, as well as the folks that are attending, who is responsible for what, the notes, and the agenda. Evaluation. How did you do? Measure the impact. Create a scorecard and review it. Did the project meet intended objectives? Is additional training needed throughout the organization to obtain those objectives? What quality indicators have changed, and by how much? Are they deviating from where the objective lies or where the desired future state is? The project at this point has come to a close. Since the project is a temporary situation, as long as all objectives and deliverables are completed, the project is now at a close. This is a snapshot of a scorecard that you can use, whether it be a required regulatory requirement, a quality indicator, best practice scenario, or strategic decision like a joint center or spine institute. All should include a quality scorecard, since that is the main objective behind any project management task in healthcare. So as you can see here, we have different categories, and often they are operational, clinical, and financial. And you have key performance metrics here, which are measurable activities. Definitions here so that everybody understands and everyone is on the same page as to what this means. Your baseline and your target, as well as your dates to follow. So in healthcare, although we've met the project objective, the project is over, there is always room for continuous improvement efforts. You ensure staff and process owners are knowledgeable of process improvement methodologies to continue this process. Establish a communication plan to discuss opportunities for improvement. And share scorecard results during surgical review meetings and/or operational meetings. This is known as monitoring your success and ensuring that your patients will continue to experience success. One example would be a patient having a hip replacement that is readmitted within 30 days. Why was this patient readmitted within 30 days? Was it technology related? Was it service related? Was it sterility related? So there are many things in healthcare that you need to investigate. Although you've built in a program or you've put in best practice, results can always deviate because of all the variables involved in the continuum of care. Thank you very much for listening. That concludes the 6 stages of project management.